I feel a bit nervous because I know a few people on this call this morning, both whānau and friends. Okay. Karakia timatanga I noi tātou. Hauora mai runga, hauora mai raro, hauora mai roto, hauora mai waho. Hauora te pūtaki o tēnei kaupapa ki a pūrangi aho tātou I te wānanga me te kōrero. Tēnei te titi ake te pau hauora ki te pūtaki o tēnei wānanga. Tūturu o whiti whakamaua kia teina, teina. Haumi e hui e, taiki e. E mihi ana ki a tātou. Tātou ko a whakakotahi mai ki te kaupapa o Matariki. Manawatia Matariki. Tēnā koutou, tēnā rā tātou katoa. Just need to have a few breaths. Before we go any further, though, I would like to hand it over to Michelle, who has a few announcements. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Thanks, Tuihana, for a beautiful karakia, and welcome everyone. Ko Michelle Gallagher, toko ingoa. I work at CSI and support all of our amazing associates. But I wanted to, for all our new faces, tell you a tiny bit about these talks that you've come to today. So Pūaha Talks are our capability or skills building free workshops and webinars that we have online for you, our amazing community members. So on our website, we've got a whole bunch of recordings, heaps more on hauora, things about evaluation, how to do your strategy, how to apply for funding, all sorts. So yeah, really encourage you to take a look if you've got that kind of learning mindset. And yeah, Foundation North proudly supports this series, so we're very thankful to them for this. And yeah, we've got one little poll to do at the front, so let me multitask. If you can get your mouses ready. Foundation North are keen to see how many of their grantees are coming along to take advantage of these talks. So, oh, you're quick. Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, and just wanted to welcome you all here and welcome our familiar faces back again. I'm really proud of you for prioritising yourselves and giving you this bit of time today. So thank you. I'll end that poll. Hopefully it goes off your screen. Awesome. And a little bit of housekeeping. We love to see your faces, so put your camera on if you're comfortable. The Zoom chat area remains completely confidential, but if you do decide to speak up and share a little bit here, that is recorded and would go on our website, so hopefully you're comfortable with that. Yeah, that's all. Have a beautiful time today, and over to you, Tuihana. Thanks, everyone.
Beautiful. Thank you. Whānau, before we get started, because there's so many of you on this call this morning, and again, I just want to mihi to each of you for making the time and the space to come onto this call today. Could you please put how you're arriving today? And I want puno kōrero, I want honest kōrero whānau. Don't tell me what I want to hear. I want to know exactly how you're coming into this call today. What drew you to the session? So why the session? And I know I'm fabulous, but yeah, honestly, what drew you to the session today? And also, what does Matariki mean to you? And while you're doing that, whānau, I'm just going to introduce myself. So, tauranga moana, maua o maunga, Ngāti rangi nui nei te rangi, Ngāti pukenga e tau nei. He taho tuku pāpā no Naitarangi Ngāti Pūkenga, Naitarangi Nui me te arawa oku iwi no ngā pōtiki tuku hapu, no tauranga moana, tauranga tangata. He taho toku māma no Stilo, Whitehorn, Denison and McKissick whānau. So it's really beautiful to be here today, whānau. My father hails from a place called Tauranga and Rotorua in the Bay of Plenty on the east coast here in Aotearoa. We have strong connections into Manaia and the Coromandel and also to Whangarei, because Ngāti Pūkenga, we were mercenaries, so we went all over the place and got little pockets of whenua all over the place. And on my mother's side, all of United Kingdom and a whole lot of all of Ireland and some European. So there we go. I'm the mother of 3 sons, Keanu, Moriora and McKissick, who are all growing now, and 2 living in Australia. I grew up in Melbourne, Australia, so I have a little bit of a twang every now and then, depends who I'm speaking with and to ka pai. But I just want to refer to the chat for a minute and just want to have a bit of a read. Quite tired and cold and Ōtepoti. Oh, yeah, I bet it is. Learning more about Matariki and rest and reset. Beautiful. Matariki fascinates me. I want to learn more. Have recently been studying te reo. I want to take opportunities that are offered. I feel really positive today. So te reo, for those of us that are coming from Australia, is it's official language of Aotearoa. Te reo Māori. Despite what might be going on, it is the official language, along with sign language, of Aotearoa of New Zealand. Mo te ira e te whānau, I'm coming to this call ready for a long weekend. Oh, cool. That's beautiful. Thank you. Beautiful. Okay, whānau. Today is Tangaroa Roto, so it's really quite a high energy day in terms of the maramataka being the Māori lunar calendar. Just want to mihi to Professor Rangi Mātāmua, who has made it possible. I think this may be the only Indigenous public holiday throughout the world, so we're very blessed to have this holiday. But Matariki is such a beautiful time, and I'll talk more about that in just a moment. But what I want to do is take a moment for us to enjoy what we have, and that is that we have this beautiful gift called ha. And ha in te reo Māori is breath. And so, and if we're not breathing, then we're with our tupuna, with our ancestors. And you'll hear me say that several times during any kind of delivery of mahi that I do. So I just want us to take a moment, and I know some of you are sitting in office spaces and places, but I'd love you to take a moment now to just get really comfortable with your tinana. Just sit really comfortably with your tinana. You may have some niggles and some other things that are pressing in your mind. And I just want you to clear your mind for just a moment and put your feet on the ground. And look, we're more than happy, Joe, to have our tamariki and our rangatahi join us because we understand that it's school holidays. So, ka pai. Just get really comfortable in your seats and your turu. If you want to go and lie down, then please do. But I just want to take us through a bit of a ha session, a bit of a breath session. Make sure you're comfortable. You may want to close down your eyes. Not everybody feels comfortable closing their eyes, so I understand that. I do appreciate that. Ka pai. But we're just going to take a few ha. Kei roto is to breathe in. Kei waho is to breathe out. And we want ideally that breath to come not from our chest, but from our puku, from our stomach, from our petal, from our belly button, from our whare tangata, those places where we carry and hold babies, and for our tāne, well, you know, in your nether regions. But if you can please breathe from your puku, from your petal, just kei roto, breathing in, kei waho, breathing out. Preferably you're going to close your eyes down, but that's okay. And if you get a whole lot of other noise coming into your upoko, into your head, into your thoughts, please just keep focusing on your breath. We're going to be here for a couple of minutes, whānau. It's probably going to feel like a lifetime, but please give yourself the gift of ha by breathing in and breathing out. And if you're feeling some kind of way, some stress, some anxiety, just feeling a bit tight in certain parts of your tinana in your body, and please send some ha, send some breath to that part. And part of this practice is connecting with you, connecting with Papatūānuku, with Mother Earth, connecting all of us today who've come along to this kōrero. Beautiful. When you're ready, take in 3 deep breaths and just really blow it out, whānau. Yeah. Oh, when you're ready, you might just want to stretch your arms. You might want to do a bit of a wiggle and a shake, a bit of a hokey pokey. We do the hokey pokey. Just, oh, beautiful whānau. Beautiful. Nā mihi. Not only does Ha give us the opportunity to relax, it also can bring us into a space of focus. And also, if we are, facing some high stress or high anxiety, it's actually the fastest way that we can actually bring ourselves into a pace of kia tau, into kind of a restful, grounded space. Hai ana? Ah, beautiful, beautiful whānau. Matariki. Matariki is such a special time. It's really interesting, I think, as Māori, we really, once upon a time, our ancestors treated this time, our tūpuna, those who came before us, treated this time as a time of rest, as a time of gathering and sharing of kai, but as a time of rest. And there's so much going on, and it's across the motu, across the country, and it's so beautiful to see what's going on. But I do encourage you that during this time of Matariki, which probably started a couple of weeks ago and will probably go right up until early August, is to take some moments to really whakatā, to rest. I love the story of that I was shared. And by the way, I'm not an expert around Matariki. I just have a super deep love and appreciation for it. And I just want to mihi to Pia who's put a beautiful backdrop. Yeah, and Matariki is with us today. So thank you, Pia I really appreciate that. But for those, I just want to mihi to all of us who may have lost somebody over the past year. And in Te Ao Māori, the story is that there's a waka that starts to descend, as we're coming into Matariki. And as it descends, it captures all of the spirits or the wairo of all of those that have passed. And it brings them into a big, big net. And then as Matariki rises, it releases the net. And all of those that have passed over the year appear as new stars in the sky. And it's such a beautiful time. So I just want us to take a moment to remember those that have passed. I know my dear friend Dorothy, who's joining us today, recently lost some whānau. Oh my gosh, I'm a real suki baba, by the way. So I just want to meet you, Dot. And it just acknowledged that your brother and your sister-in-law are now stars in the sky. So, by the way, whānau, my koro Ohia, he was a really big suki baba, and I'm happy to say that I carry those same beautiful pukinga and pūmanawa of his. But Matariki is also a time for not only remembering those that have passed, but also to think about the year that we've had. And there's many trials and tribulations and celebrations and moments of joy that we can reflect on. And in this modern day and time, it's really easy for us to kind of go, wow, we did that, and we just move on to the next thing, and we just move on to the next thing, and we move on to the next thing. And I just really want us to take a time to remember those that have passed, but also to remember the year that you've had, and to also have some focus and some reflection on those moments that you could celebrate and take joy from. Ka pai? Mine would be, because not only do I play in the space of well-being, but I also like to play in the space of sustainable fashion. And recently showed a little collection at Āhua Fashion Week. And for me, an absolute highlight, absolute highlight. You know, it's just such a joy to be able to participate in something like that. It's a moment I'd like to take to just celebrate. So what moment would you be taking to celebrate you and the things that you've done or that your whānau have achieved? Matariki is about a time around whānau where we all come together, about sharing of kai. It's also about thinking about community, our hapori, our hauora, our well-being, also our mahi, but also very few of us really take the time to sometimes to just think about us, eh? And it's very hard can I just say, it's really challenging from a te ao Māori perspective to just think about koau, to think about ourselves, because we're always thinking about our whānau and our friends. And, you know, we're taught there is no me, my, and I. There's only we and us. There's only tātou, you, me, and all of us. So today we are going to do a little bit of interactive time where you're going to be given a little task to do. So I hope you've got pen and paper ready. Or if you're a Gen whatever, XYZ, I'm not quite sure, or millennial or whatever they call them, I just get so lost, you may want to use your phone, and that's kia te pai. But Matariki really gives us this opportunity to pause. It really, really does. And I just want to share with you like some insights that I've learned over the years and the things that I do. But really, I want us to come together in this moment and in this time to do a bit of sharing. So, heads up, not only will we be doing a little something today, but also I may ask some of you to share. Ka pai? If there's anyone who's really no way, heck to the no, do I want to share, that's cool. But I will randomly select people to potentially do some sharing. Ka pai? Yeah? I can see everyone going, ugh. Just know, whānau, that I volan aroha is what I call it. Okay? I volan aroha. All right? So you can use that word wherever you like, volan aroha. It's a gift from me to you today. So I'll volan aroha some of you. But today what I thought we could do is I would really love us, if you've got pen and paper ready, have you got pen and paper? Okay. At the top of that piece of paper, or in the middle of the piece of paper, I'd love you to write your name. And I want you to think about where your name came from, what's the whakapapa of your name. So whakapapa is your ancestry. So my name Tuihana, the story of Tuihana from what I've been told, is that Ngā which is our little hapu back home, they were having a whaiwhai with Te Arawa, and there was a big chief Te Arawa and there was a big chief Ngā, but the Ngā chief had a daughter called Tuihana, and they had a bit of a whaiwhai. Whaiwhai is a battle, and the Te Arawa chief won, and he took the names of Ngā, which included, and the beautiful daughter, Tuihana, took her back to Te Arawa. And from then on in, the name Tuihana is very much a Te Arawa name, but it has origins back to Ngā. So I know that about my name. I also know that our surname, we were actually Williams. Our great-grandfather went to Te Aute as John Williams and came out of Te Aute as Hunga Ohia because he was asked to change his name. And so he took his father's first name, Te Ohia, as our surname, Ohia. So there's all these things that I know about my name. What do you know about your name? And it could be so many stories of like dads that liked some television celebrity, or a mum that thought some band was cool, or there's all the stories, right? There's all those beautiful stories. I want you to think about where your name came from. And then I'd love you to think about your pukinga. So your pukinga are your skills. Like, what skills have you got? Kapai? And I'd love you to think more deeply is, what are your pūmanawa? So, a few years ago now, I performed with a beautiful group called Rangamaria, who was led by Pānia Papa. And we did an entire bracket on this word pūmanawa. And I remember saying to Pān, because I'd only lived here, I'd only been back in New Zealand for a very short time. I said, what's pūmanawa, Pān? And Pān said, it's about like your God-given gifts that you've been given, your tupuna-given gifts that you've got. You know, what are you like completely amazing at? You know, what are you really, really fabulous at? And it can be quite hard for us in New Zealanders with our tall puppy syndrome, which we need to get rid of, by the way. Let's leave that at the back door. Or way. Let's go and bury it at the urupa even. But, you know, my thing is what are your pūmanawa? What are you absolutely exceptional at? Without, you know, there's no whakahihi here or whakamā. It's what are you absolutely fabulous at? Ka pai? Paula's mother was a fabulous, fabulous lady. And I think that one of her pūmanawa was that she just was so great at speaking to people and so good at connecting with people. I don't know if you think that, Paula, but I did think that about your mum. She was awesome. Not quite yet, Michelle. Not yet. Just one moment. Has everyone done that? Is everyone doing that? Okay, Joe. I got you, Joe. Now we're gonna take a bit of time, and I would love you to looking at your name, looking at your whakapapa, who you are, and also your pukinga and your pūmanawa. I would love you to write a letter to yourself. And I want you to write a letter to your future self. So you're going to write a letter of collection of your reflections from the year that's been, the dreams, the moimoia that you have for yourself in the year ahead, and some of your aspirations and intentions. And I want you to begin writing that letter, and we're going to play some music, and we're going to play a couple of songs. The first song we're going to play is Moimoia by Stan Walker. Now, Moimoia is around your dreams and your aspirations for yourself. It may be that he's also a nephew of mine, and I love him to bits. So, and anyone from Tauranga, we all love him. So, We're going to play that, but we want you to take your time. We've got several waiata that we're going to play, but we really want you to take your time. We really want you to reflect on the year that's been, and we want you to be like, think big, whānau, like what is your absolute dream and aspiration? Ka pai? And Michelle, if we could please put some music on for everybody. We're going to give you a good length of time in order to write this letter to yourself. I know it's quite early on. We've only been on this call half an hour, and I'm asking you to do something. And then we're going to ask you, a few of you, to share. Ka pai? So please, over to you, Michelle. How's everybody? I can still see everyone writing. I just thought, well, why were some of you maybe just finishing off or still going? Matariki is actually why we call it Matariki here in Aotearoa. It's called many names across the globe. So it's not only celebrated here in Aotearoa, but it's also celebrated across the Pacific Islands. Also, if you know the sign Subaru from the Subaru cars, it's actually, so in Japan, they celebrate that Subaru symbol is Matariki. And then also Pilates with the Greeks and also pagans in ancient times. So it really wasn't something that is specifically for us. It's just that we celebrate it during our time for our kaupapa and our reasons. And different stars actually reflect different meanings. So the latest or the design currently are those different stars with different colors, and each of those colors has a different meaning. And it could be food from the awa river, or food from the moana, kai from the moana. It could be the red star, I know, significant is acknowledges those that have passed. And so there's different stars that have different colors and reflect different meanings. But a lot of people think, or some people think, oh, is Matariki just a Māori thing? And for us here in Aotearoa, it's very much a part of our community and a part of our culture, but it is celebrated right across the world. And it's such a special time for us. It's a time when often many of us will return back to our whenua. And if we can't be with whenua, then we're often with whānau. So it's a really beautiful, beautiful time. But as I said, it wasn't a time where we normally had massive celebrations. It's normally a time when we rested. But if you're in Auckland, you'll see they've got beautiful walks. And in Tauranga, and I think in Wellington, you can do the Matariki walks. There's things, activations happening all across the country, which is such a beautiful celebration for all of us in Aotearoa, no matter our whakapapa and no matter where we've come from, and all our blended many rivers of our whakapapa and who we are. I wanted us to write a letter because I don't think that we often do that. And I wanted us to, as a time of coming into Matariki, the letter was a practice of reflection, but also a practice of aspirations. And that is what I believe Matariki to be for me personally, but it might be different things for each of you. But I'd love some of us to share, perhaps share a reflection and an aspiration. Just a heads up, if you decide you want to do a kōrero, which means that you want to have a big old conversation about your dream, or about your reflection, then I'm going to probably start to sing. Ka pai? So that's my little heads up to you, that you may be talking a little too long, because there's a few of us in this space, and our kuia on our marae, they do that to our tāne, because if you've ever, to our men, because if you've ever been onto a marae, Sometimes our men like to take a lot of space and a lot of time, and we get a bit hoha, a bit bothered by that. So some of us start to sing sometimes over the top. Kapai, like, yes, Michelle, like at the Oscars, when someone gets up and starts to talk for too long, they start playing the music over the top. That's what's going to happen here, okay? All right, whānau. But I can see Fire Eileen having a bit of a cracker about what I just said. So maybe we'll ask Fire Eileen to start off with a bit of a reflection and an aspiration. Kia ora, Fire Eileen.
Kia ora. Well, this year, I've been more open to suggestions and rather than treating them as challenges, have worked out more positive ways of approaching aspects. Sometimes I'd sort of take things on board and things wouldn't turn out well, but if I step back and try to be positive, it's actually worked well. And that kind of leads on to this year. As I've mentioned, I'm trying to learn more te reo and also about the culture, marae culture, that type of thing. But I want to learn how to speak out sensitively when I see injustices, because sometimes I'll just stand back. So that's what my aim is this year. I'm going to try and speak out a little more sensitively, of course, and carefully in situations that I don't totally agree with.
Beautiful. Thank you, Fire Eileen. That's gorgeous sharing. Thank you.
Thank you for letting me have the chance.
Oh, beautiful. I saw you giggling away when I was talking, so I was like, right. What about you, Pianika?
I always get picked. Tēnā tātou, ko Pianika Taylor aho, no Waikato Maniapoto, no Te Atiawa, no Hauraki, Toki iwi. So my reflections on the past year, I've stepped into 2 different roles at Mahi over the past year, and I've been able to help strengthen engagement and culture within my team, which has been something that I'm really proud of. And throughout the year, my whānau have been through quite a few difficult times, so I've been able to return home and support them, which again can be hard through a very busy life, and it's also hard to take time for yourself as well amongst all that. So I'm really proud of that. And then looking to the future, I really want to reconnect to my creative roots. So I've started to learn poi again, which is super proud of. It's just me in front of YouTube, swinging up and down. And my poor partner has to listen to the same song 50 times a night. So yeah, thank you for having me on this call. Ngā mihi.
Beautiful. Ngā mihi. Now, before you go, whereabouts in the Waikato Maniapoto?
Te Kuiti.
Oh.
Yeah. So from Te Kuiti Pā or Te Tōkanga Nui Anoho.
Beautiful. It's right in the heart of it all. Surname? Sorry, got to go before you go.
Surname is Taylor.
Right.
So dad is a Taylor and mum is a Sarank.
Oh, yes. Got you.
Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful.
Ngā mihi.
Ngā mihi. Now, I can see there's a tāne from Raise Up, even though I know there's the room full of them. So, Bo, over to you, please. A little bit of sharing.
Kia ora, ko Ray Tuku ingoa. The rest of my team is here also, but they're hiding out of frame so that the green screen doesn't pick them up. Hi, guys.
Hi, everyone.
Kia ora. So my reflection for this year, this past year, since last Matariki, been a really big year. Changed roles from my last mahi. Started up with Raise Up this year a couple months ago. And then I've also gotten married this year, so that's been cool. And my son started at daycare, so it's been a really big, really massive year. So I hadn't really stopped and considered how big of a year it's been, but it's been awesome. So that's been cool. What I'm looking forward to and what my goals the aspiration, that's the word, I set for myself is I'm keen to get back into working on my tinana again. When I had my little boy, you kind of lose the spare time to go take care of yourself at the gym, because you're just having to survive with a 2-year-old. So trying to get back into yeah, working on my tinana. That's me. You guys have anything? No, that's okay. Yeah. That's all from us. Thanks, guys.
They're like, no, we're hiding. Thank you. And 2-year-olds are definitely challenging. I don't know anyone that hasn't had a challenging 2-year-old. So, ka pai you. I'd love to hear from, now I don't know your name, but I can see you're from the Dusseldorp Forum. So maybe from our Australian whānau, I'd love to hear about your reflection on your past year and your aspiration for the year ahead. That'd be beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's I'm Margot Beach from Dusseldorp Forum, and it's such a pleasure and a privilege to be here with all of you today. My reflection on the past year has been, I guess, what a changing world we live in. And for us in Sydney, we experienced and witnessed the tragedy at Bondi Beach at Christmas. That has continued to ripple through our community. And for many of us, we're working with that in that community and with others associated to provide the right supports, to be there, to listen deeply, to care, and to hold people close. So that is on a broader scale. I guess on a personal scale, I've also witnessed, how vulnerable life can be. My sister, an older sister, has been recently diagnosed with dementia. So to see that is confronting. Aspirations for me are two things. One is I'm an avid bushwalker and haven't done as much of that as I'd like to. So that's certainly on the list. The other is a girlfriend of mine. We've started going weekly to this event in our local community called No Lights, No Lycra. So it's an hour of dancing in the dark. And I love it. I absolutely love it. And it's quite a variety of music. You don't get to choose the music, but it's a group of, you never know who's going to be there on the Thursday night. It's in a church hall. It's lots of fun, and it just rocks my boat. I love it.
Oh, I think we need to start that in New Zealand. I think we need to start. It's really cool. Oh, we have one of these events. Oh, that sounds beautiful. And I just want to, before we move on, we felt that deeply here in Aotearoa, what happened at Bondi. So just please, all our aroha, all our love to you and to all those within the community to help with those whānau who lost many.
Yeah.
Moi mai rā. So
thank you.
Thank you for your mahi. Sonia from Tūmai Taonga. Kia ora.
Tēnā koutou katoa, ko Sonia Williams aho. Nā te rehua nā te wai ki Aotea, te iwi. I'm on Aotea Great Barrier Island, and I work in conservation. I've had a wonderful past year. I've found happiness in my home on my whenua, and by building a new bedroom and patio and making my garden beautiful, and that's brought me so much happiness. For the new year, I'm excited to be welcoming a new mokopuna who I can't wait to see soon in July. She'll be born. She lives in Australia, so really excited to spend more time in Australia with my two beautiful daughters and my mokopuna. Kia ora,
Beautiful. Kia ora. Thank you. Congratulations on your mokopuna.
ngā mihi.
How about Dorothy? Kia te pai, Bex.
Kia ora. I don't know. Sorry, this has been confronting this session for me, and I'll just share a little bit because of all the loss I've suffered in coming into this session. I thought I was all good and this was going to be great grounding, you know, related to mahi for me personally. But I just ended up crying the whole entire time while we were doing the ha at the beginning. So that's just where I'm at right now. I think my reflection for the past year to date has been all the change that has happened for me, like growth change, work change, meeting new people, all of the things. And it's been amazing. It's been a wonderful journey to now. And I think for me, my aspirations or my dreams moving forward is to remember to take more time for me. So I'm really good at giving to everybody else. So I think a little bit more focus going forward to fill my cup before everybody else. Yeah, so.
Beautiful. Thank you, Dorothy. Thank you, Dorothy. And how about Rangamari? She just gave me a pūkana. Gave us a pūkana.
Kia ora. Oh, kia ora koutou, kia ora auntie. I was just thinking just then, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be a crybaby like our tupuna as well. Yeah, I honestly think that I've just been kind of learning how to be a crybaby again, I guess. Because I just think all of the different types of cycles of grief that we constantly go through, whether it's with our own whānau or friends that have passed, or all of the tragedies that happen in our local communities and worldwide, it's hard to actually incorporate like proper grief and proper tangi into your everyday life. So you tend to hold on to it. So I've kind of been in that sort of space, and I guess like holding on to it. And yeah, I think when we think about the act of tangihanga and letting your roimata actually flow so that it can go back to papatūānuku and heal the path that you're about to walk through. I haven't been doing that. It kind of just like, I feel like it like has, I'm speaking a little bit metaphorically at the moment, just so I can like get through this kōrero, but it kind of like seeds like the doubts and the pōuriuri in your own body and your tinana and in your mind, that you kind of like I guess like te kore is like thrust upon you, and it felt like te kore has been thrust upon me. And so over the past year I've been kind of just intentionally trying to learn how to strengthen my voice and finding, I guess, like really focusing on joy and friendship and community, because I'm not living in my pā anymore with my whānau, and so it's I think I'm like trying to intentionally create the aroha that I've always wanted growing up, and wherever I am, whether that's home or whether that's in Ōtautahi, which is where I am right now. So I've done things like we've like shared kai with people, and also I've started taking vocal lessons, which I love singing. I love singing so much and I love dancing and moving my body, but like because of the body that kind of like sits, it feels like your body's stagnant and like you find a hard time to find the breath. So like actually like doing those active things like singing and learning the different parts of the body, that the way that it works so that it can actually come out, it makes it feel like it's not hitched anymore. And just thinking back on what the bro was sharing before about getting back to like strengthening your tinana as well, so that you can also do those things. So that's my focuses as well. And I kind of like had a realization that the things that I do for my marae and my community, I realized that I wasn't practicing it or role modeling it in my own life. And so if you can't help yourself, you can't help anybody else. So that's the
Beautiful. Thank you, Rangamari. Thank you for being so pono, and to you too, Dot. I know I put you on the spot, but thank you so much. I just wanted to talk about, you brought up Rangamari, te kore. And you know, Matariki gives us the opportunities to reflect on those moments. So te kore, the word kore means nothingness, but it's also, we believe, the greatest realm of learning your potential, understanding your potential. And sometimes when we're in te kore, it can feel like having gumboots on and trying to wade through mud. But what's really beautiful about te kore is how much you learn about yourself, right, in those spaces. So in moments of grief and in moments of trauma, when you feel really at your lowest of lows, is often when people will say, I'm in te kore. But when you begin to step away or out of te kore and into te pō, which is te pō's the night, even in those, or the darkness, even in te pō, when you look up into the dark skies, you will see stars that shine brightly. And so you begin to see those glimmers of hope and those glimmers of, oh, okay, I'm moving away from te kore, I'm moving into te pō. And again, this all relates back to Matariki, because at the moment, well, I know here, I reside currently in the Waikato. When you look up into the night skies, they're just so crystal clear at the moment and so incredibly beautiful. And I encourage you all to take some time to look up into te pō, into the sky, and see the stars of those that have passed before you and see your potential. And then you move into that beautiful, which is my favorite place because I think it's like fun and you can play as te ao marama, when you step into the beautiful realms of light. And through te kore and te pō and te ao marama, there's different phases. It's not just like, there's te kore, there's te pō, there's te ao marama. You know, there's different phases within each. And you can move back and you can move forward. And that's what happens within a year. You know, you have moments of such joy of being in te ao marama and then such deep thought. And that itself is reflected also in the seasons that come and go, like takirua at the moment is winter. And it gives us a real opportunity to slow down. You know, we tend to hibernate a little bit. We tend to, you know, put on an extra layer of not just clothing, but of hinu as well, you know. And that's all because we're wanting to keep our bodies warm. Hinu's fat, by the way, I know. But our hinu to us isn't like the way that I suppose in English, it's hard to describe, really. It's hard to make that interpretation, but that's the easiest transliteration. And I ask, you know, and thank you all so much. There's so many, and we may do a few more actually, reflections and aspirations and intentions. But it's also remembering that Matariki is a time of releasing any taumaha and pauri, taumaha, heaviness, pauri, sadness, but also understanding that in those moments of taumaha and in those moments of pauri and heaviness and sadness is also the times when you when often you're doing a lot of self-reflection, you know. and you learn the greatest things about yourself sometimes when you're feeling the lowest of the lows. But Matariki is a time when you can write things onto pieces of paper, or you can call it out to the night skies. You light a fire and you just say either the name of the person that's passed or the thing that you may want to release, and you let it go into the night sky. You allow the night skies in our atua, or he could be English atua, deities, and our ancestors to take that to release that from us. You know, and there's many practices, many people will be doing that at the moment. There's also, we have water around us in Aotearoa and in Australia too. Lots of water that give us an opportunity to practice pure, to practice releasing and letting go of things that no longer serve our hearts or our minds or our tinana. And to remember that we always have kai, and kai is a real opportunity to whakanoa ourselves. So like the whakanoa is to have some peace, to settle us into a space of being kia tau, and to really being settled and grounded. Chuck your shoes off, plant your feet onto papa tuanuku, take some deep breaths at the same time. There's actually some science, okay, because we have our own science, but for those that are more into kind of Western science, there is definite science that says that by placing your bare feet onto Mother Earth and drawing in some breaths, you will actually find that you can regulate yourself. You can bring some peace to your inner self. So there's all sorts of things that are around us and within really quick reach. So I know a few of you today came on here because you wanted to be able to share some things with your different workplaces. You don't need a lot of pūtea or money or budgets in order to do things that can provide some real well-being and some real learning around Matariki. The sharing of kai, the writing of notes and then burning of notes, the getting up early in the morning and looking at the stars, or at night. I'm not a morning person anymore. I used to be. But, and also, I suppose a question, and I was just, as you were all talking, I was just writing a few notes, was also finding what's your rongoa, what's your rongoa, what's your medicine. Oh, Paula, that would have been beautiful. But you see, it's that shock. You would definitely want to hear for a week. Oh, that's not. But often it's the shock of that water, of the why, that actually can be a real release, a real letting go. Now, if you can't get to water, you can always put on a cold shower, which, let me tell you, it's not fun for about the first minute. But what it does is you'll find you'll be like, and it actually is shocking your body and allowing you to catch your breath and then suddenly you'll come into a space where you're just like breathing quite okay. And you realize as you step away from that coldness, from that feeling of being really, makariri, being cold, that you actually have a sense of real, wow. I bet you felt like $1 million bucks afterwards, Paula, but you felt unbelievable. Yeah, so it's understanding what is your rongoa, what is your medicine. When you're thinking about your aspirations, then and there's I'm going to share something with you only because Lisa just put it up. But I was doing a community Māori leadership program that I do with CSI and the Care Foundation. And we've got a beautiful Anne-Marie Maikuku, who's from Taharo on the west coast here in the North Island. And this one, she taught us, and you bang your chest, And this isn't going to be in order, okay? So you go, bang it. And it's quite firm. At first I was like, oh, and then you do or. So this is Tāne Wahine. So this is your female side. This is your male side. So this is left and right. So we're doing or. And it's amazing. Then you get your fingertips right in the middle of your chest bone and you tap, and that's E. What must be E? One of them must be E or E. I always get missed. And then I'm going to stand up for a minute, and around your puku, and you bang around your puku, and around your back with your kidneys. Do this. And then you do this. Ooh. 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 Kapai. A, E, I, O, U. Just not in that order. It's another way of reawakening. Kapai. It could be a rongoa for you. A rongoa for me is kakahu. Kakahu is a rongoa for me. But what is it for you? Paiana? Kapai? Every time I do this, there's always a waiata that I feel like comes to me and like talking, just some reflections. And I would love to hear because I don't want to really break out into song too much because anyone that knows me knows I like singing a little waiata or two. But Melanie, could I ask you to just share a bit of reflection and aspiration for the future, please?
Course, ngā mihi kia koutou for everyone who's shared already. Ko Mel tōku ingoa, ko Ngāpui tōku iwi. I've been thinking about pū manawa and the literal translation of it. Pū meaning to blow and manawa of the heart, and what your heart blows, I think, is a beautiful reminder when we're entering into Matariki. So pū manawa. And my nana is being caught up in te kupinga or Matariki. So I was thinking about her while we were talking before, and what it means from our ancestors being, and what it means to be a good ancestor now. And so my reflections are, this next year has got a lot of change, hopefully, that can reset the world and te ao into a different direction. Personally, getting my daughter through NCEA and all of those things are important too. But what it means to be a good ancestor to me relies heavily on, my daughter has just woken up and she's eating breakfast very loudly, of course, the one time. Just 2 seconds. Sorry. Ka aro. Yeah, so what it means to be a good ancestor in Matariki is always a really important thing for me. And thinking about what my ancestors and my tupuna had their dreams when they signed He Whakaputanga and Te Tiriti, what they had dreams for us, and what I can do to help set their dreams into reality now as we're in like 2026, 27. So yeah, kia ora, and I'll go back on mute so my daughter can have her kai for breakfast.
So what's beautiful about this time, and I think that's what Melanie shared, thank you, Melanie, for sharing, is that Matariki does mean different things to different people, but at the foundation of it all, there is a hononga that connects us all, because it's a time about reflection and a time about, aspirations and moving forward, but just taking the time and the moments. And I think that in the cacophony of all the noise that's around us at the moment, it's really easy for us to kind of like, can we just get through Matariki? Can we just move on to the next thing? But I'm really going to encourage us to really reflect on that. And thank you for sharing the meaning of that kupu pū manawa, And a number of you have spoken around this, and that is like in terms of, I want to be strong in my mind, I want to be strong in my body, I want to take time for myself. Those things is also to think about the beautiful kupu hauora. So hauora is often bandied around as health within a modern day context. But the word ho is the essence of who you are. And then the ora is like, what keeps us alive, to be vital, to vitality, to be alive. So it's the essence of your vitality, I'm sure there's someone with much more real knowledge than me who would have an even more beautiful description of it. But that's the beauty of that word, hauora. And mata and riki, and then you've got mata, and then ma, and then it's got ariki in there as well. So matariki has itself many different meanings, and in some places it's not matariki, it's puanga that's celebrated in different areas, and they themselves have meaning behind that kupu. But essentially, matariki is a time of coming together as kotahitanga, as our beautiful Kingi Tuihana, who, when he was alive, often spoke to, was about that time of kotahitanga. And now our Queenie, Ngā Waihone Te Pō, talks about sustainability and about the taio. And that's the beautiful thing about Matariki too, is that I really think that you feel a change within that season. Like 5 o'clock every morning, I will wake up because you can feel the shift when of the new day beginning. I said I'm not a morning person, but guarantee you 5 o'clock every morning I'll wake up just for a moment. It's like, your tupuna tapping you on the shoulder and saying a new day is beginning. And that's the joy of Matariki, because it's a new season, it's a new year, it's a time for celebration, it's a time for remembering. Ka pai. Ko te aroha no he wai, e pupu ake ana, he awa he ma puna mai ana, I roto I te whatu manawa. Ko tōna mata puna he honu, ai nai a kare re ano. Ko tōna mata puna he honu, ai nai a kare re ano. He tai te mu, he tai pari, he tai ope, he tai roa, he tai nui, he tai nui, he tai nui. The reason I sing that waiata was probably one of the first waiata I ever learned when I returned back to Aotearoa. But the beautiful thing about that waiata, Tai Aroha, is it talks about the tides of the water that come and go. And it also talks about the tides of aroha and the ups and downs that we will have and the many things that may challenge us along the way. And if you think about the moon impacts the water, the rivers and the seas and the creeks. And we are made up of a massive percentage of water. So it makes sense that different moons are going to impact us in different ways, just like different seasons do. Whether that's takirua, winter, koanga, spring, raumati, summer, or nahuru, autumn. Just like there are different seasons in life as well. And we need to embrace all that comes to us, because even though it might feel like absolute crap sometimes, and we're thinking, what the heck? Why am I going through this? What is it that I'm supposed to be learning? Because it's meant for us. And there's a beautiful word a beautiful, whakarongo is to listen. Whakarongo, but when you put the word ata before whakarongo, it is to listen with all of us, to listen with all our senses, to listen with our body, to listen with our thoughts, to listen with our wairua, with our spiritual well-being. It's to listen with all of us, ata whakarongo. And look, I don't know anyone that's great at that, but we're all here for the learning. We're all here to practice. We're all here for those paths. Hi. And Matariki gives us that opportunity to reflect, but also to set some aspirations and intentions for ourselves. And I just want to say, whānau, that you may have 10, but I encourage you, love your cousin, all my love to the whānau, is to think about maybe 1 or 2, Let's not have some harshness to ourselves. Let's have some kindness to ourselves. Let's not pull down people. Let's lift people up. Let's get rid of the bullshit, excuse my language, of the tall poppy syndrome that happens in Aotearoa. Matariki, this is a time for us to review, to reflect, to rethink and to reimagine. And I encourage each of you to lift, like Fire Eileen shared with us, which I thought was really quite courageous. And I mihi to you, Fire Eileen. I do. I mihi to you greatly. It takes both the rangatahi in the space, and I'm not, the peanekas and the rangamaris and the many others in this space, as well as our kuia in this space, both the wise and the young, the mature and the maturing, to come together for us to be this beautiful hapuri community. And I need to mihi to each of you too, because I know that you all work in community spaces and you all give a lot of time and a lot of your energy, not just to the organizations that you work with, but the communities that you live and breathe in, and also to the whānau that you lead. But is there any questions? We've got a bit of time. Or is there any thoughts that anyone would like to share? Remembering whānau, this is not an opportunity for your kōrero, but is there anything that anyone would like to share? We've got a few minutes, or any pātai or inquiries. Oh? Well, I'm going to volunteer aroha Agnes. Kia ora, Agnes. You can see here, she just... Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Ko Agnes tōku ingoa, he uri no Ngāti Ranui, engari I tipu aki au ki o Taitahi, e noho ana au ki Manurewa, tāma ki Makaurau. This has just been amazing, and yeah, I'm a little bit overwhelmed, to be fair, and I've so much so that I've forgotten the pātai that I'm supposed to be.
You're all right, Agnes. You're okay. I'm just gonna thank you for coming on and saying hello. Hi, Anna. It probably didn't help that I started crying at the very beginning of the session, so everyone's got emotional. Aroha mai whānau, but this is a good place for tears. Okay, full permission for crying, full permission for being emotional, and full permission for being joyful as well, Whai Agnes.
Aye.
Kia ora. And can you share with us maybe just one moemoeā for you for the year ahead?
I think the one that I want to start putting in place is connecting with my hapu. So just for a bit of context, my father, who is whakapapa, was of the lost generation. So I continue to carry that mamae with me.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I've really struggled to reconnect with my hapu. So that is something that, yeah, that is my aspiration for this new tauhou.
Beautiful.
Kia
Thank you,
ora.
Fire. Thank you. Well, can I just share with you that you're talking to a wahine who, and there's probably many of us actually in this call at the moment, but Tāne and wahine, who left here as a young girl, grew up in Melbourne, Australia. The only kupu Māori we ever heard was Hariki te moe. I wouldn't have been able to tell you what my hapu or my iwi was once upon a time. And so, it is a journey, but it's such a beautiful one. When you discover all your whakapapa and who you are. And so I just want to mihi to you and your courage and your bravery to go on that path, because it does take some courage to find that path. So all the very best for the year ahead. And I think we all need to come back in a year's time, whānau, and check in with one another. Ka whai? Thank you, Agnes. It's beautiful sharing. I'd love you to just take a moment to just pause and to put in a word or a sentence about how you're leaving today's session. Or perhaps it can be or one thing that you learned from today. Ka pai, and if you could put that in the chat, we would so appreciate that in so many ways. Ka pai. But thank you for joining us today. A big mihi to you all for making the time and the space to come to this session. I am going to sing us out. I just want to share with you, 4 years ago, the girl that sits in front of you today was very different from the girl that would have sat in front of you 4 years ago. And we all have our own journeys in life, And so Rangamari, when you talk about te kore, I remember that fondly now. At the time, it did not feel beautiful, but I remember it fondly now. So, just remember that there's always a community around you. But Dorothy, I would know what I was like 4 years ago, and the girl that sits in front of you here today. And it's a very different, and so would Michelle and Karania and others who've been on this life journey with me. But just thank you, everyone. But there was a waiata that came to me often when I was presenting, and I sing it now in every session, because no matter the kaupapa, because I truly believe that it was a waiata, and not only is it a waiata, but it's also a whakataiki that really gave me strength and gave me courage and bravery, and also a remembering of who I am. And please find out there's a massive amount of wellbeing resources that myself and others have created, and Michelle will put the link. There's links on the CSI website, so please go and have a look at those. Unu Ora and many others. And just really from the bottom of my heart to all of you, thank you so much for being here today. I send much love to you all in memory of those that have passed. But I'm going to sing us out, and then we'll all do a bit of a little cool little thing at the end, no matter where you're sitting. Ka pai. E kaku noa hau, I rue a mai, I rangi a te a. 'Cause I can never be lost, I am a seed, born of greatness, descended from a line of chiefs. Because no matter our whakapapa, no matter where we've come from, we have all come from lines of chiefs. No matter where our iwi, our hapu, our ancestry is from. So he tuturu whakamaua kia tīna, tīna. Haumea hui e, tai ki e. So much aroha from me, from us all at CSI and Foundation North, to all of you. Have a beautiful Matariki. Manawatia, Matariki. Go forth and be great. And put your letters away and read them in a year's time. Ka pai. Love you all. Ka kite, aroha nui.